A little bit of background on the case. In 1974, there was a callous and cold-hearted murder of an exceptional young woman. Her name was Arlis Perry, and my heart goes out to the family and the community as a whole. A mother and father lost a daughter, a husband lost a wife. Our detectives have worked diligently over the years to solve the murder of Arlis. It comes with great honor to announce we solved the 43-year-old cold case. Stephen Blake Crawford, 72-year-old, was a security guard at Stanford University at the time of the murder. Crawford had been a person of interest since the beginning of the investigation. Our detectives continue to piece together additional information to this tragic puzzle, and we were able recently to link Crawford's DNA to the crime scene. Today, our detectives were serving a warrant, and when they knocked on the door of Crawford's residence, he killed himself. Our detectives are still at the scene searching the residence for additional evidence connecting Crawford to this murder and to any other unsolved murders. I cannot understate the efforts of our detectives. They've done an exceptional job. Many cold case homicide detectives have worked on this for years. We followed all the leads and unraveled the entanglement of the evidence associated with the murder of Arlis Perry. We truly have a talented group of detectives who provide exceptional services to the residents of Santa Clara County. This is a case that eludes us no longer. Lead detective Sergeant Richard Alanis kept this picture of Arlis Perry with him as a constant reminder that her life and this case had value. I'd be happy to take any questions from the media.
How does it make you feel? I mean, this is more than 40 years after the fact, and you've been able to use DNA evidence to bring the killer to justice.
This case was really personal to me. She was murdered just soon after I started the sheriff's office, and it was high profile at the time. It's been frustrating throughout the years that we could never get enough evidence to charge the suspect. It's difficult for her family, it's difficult for the department, but we finally have closure on this case.
How were you able to get Crawford's DNA?
The detectives had continually gone through the evidence, submitted additional evidence for testing. There was no DNA at the time of the murder, of course, but then there have been enhancements in their capabilities, so we just continued to submit the evidence to the crime lab, and it came from, I think, an item of her clothing.
So what were they after going to the apartment today? What was the search warrant for? How did that come about?
Obviously, you need a lot of probable cause for a search warrant, which they had based on information that we had in the past. But today, they were executing the search warrant to see if they could find anything that would link him to the crime. And we'll get the press together again tomorrow, because I think our detectives are still searching his residence. The search was postponed because he killed himself, so the suicide had to be investigated while still preserving his scene, still preserving his apartment, so then we could go in and finish executing the search warrant.
And can you explain what initially cleared him 44 years ago? Why
Nothing ever cleared him. There was just not enough evidence to charge him with the crime. Anything else?
Are there any other pieces of substantial evidence that you guys have come across in his apartment that may link him?
They're still doing the search. I think they're still doing it right now. They were when I talked earlier. And so we don't know the information on that, but we will get back to you if we do find anything additional. He knew he was a person of interest. He knew that we were continuing the investigation actively right now, because our detective have talked to him recently. So I'm not sure if this was not unexpected for us to show up at his door.
Could you describe maybe some of those conversations that you guys had previously?
Just interrogations in trying to get additional information, elicit additional evidence. He didn't provide us anything concrete with enough to arrest at that time, but then we continued and were able to then get the search warrant.
Did the contact with him ramp up recently, or was this steady over the last however long?
It's been on and off throughout the years. We generally would have had a need to talk with him. Ramped up recently, absolutely.
Is there any connection between the, known connection between the suspect and Arlis?
No, none at all. You know that she was murdered in the church at Stanford, and he was a security guard. I don't think we have any evidence at this time that they knew each other at Stanford, but they were both associated with Stanford. And so tomorrow we will have a lot more information. We'll be able to debrief with the detectives and see if they were able to find any additional information. And we'll follow up with you on that. So thank you very much for taking the time. Yes, ma'am?
Is there any other connection to him with any other violent crimes at Stanford?
Not that we're aware of now, but we're continuing to follow up. But no, we don't have any reason to believe that now.
I assume you did DNA testing prior. Were there any types of tests that emerged that you were able to connect him with?
There was evidence to the crime lab. They'd done DNA testing in the past, but we weren't able to get anything until recently.
Sheriff, have you talked to the Perry family or anyone connected with them? If so, what have they expressed?
So we have reached out. Our detectives have talked with family members. They were appreciative of the notification. And that's about all the information I have, but we have reached out, so.